Hello again. This is your girl Cecilia, citizen of the universe, and I have intentionally chosen to call myself that because I don't want to perpetuate this us and them. You are African, I am white. You are Asian, you are South American. I think that as human beings, we were given dominion over the universe, and that's why we can still move from planet Earth to Mars to the moon, because we are created in the image of God and have been given the power to take dominion over this. So I have freed myself from everything that limits me. So that's why I am a freed citizen of the universe. All right. And we've been talking in a series of racism, diversity, and inclusion. And today I want to talk about racism and what is it. I want to use the definition that's in Dr. Robin DiAngelo in her book, in the book White Fragility, why it's so hard for white people to talk about race. And I think it's a great book, and a lot of my white friends have read this and have actually referred me to the book to say, hey, have you seen this book? And I've read it, and I actually reading it and also my interactions with my white friends of late have moved me from a space of anger, because I had a lot of anger from when I was in my teens, when I studied history, and I read about the slave trade. That whole experience really made me hate white people, and then colonialism, something that I was born into. I was born in a country where it was still a colonized country, because Zimbabwe just got independence in 1980. I was born in the 70s, in the thick of the war, liberation war. And so thinking of slave trade and colonialism was something that made me have stereotypes and anger and thoughts about white people. Now, when I read this book and when I talked to some of my white friends, so I would like some of my white friends, to come into this discussion and talk about this. I have now moved from anger, like I said, to empathy and to a space of, let's talk about this, help me understand. Because I think when one is in a position of privilege, you don't really notice it, because that's the norm. It's the normal environment for you. So you don't think of anything else, but that's normal. And I can share this because I have lived it. When Zimbabwe got independent, Zimbabwe was a British colony and it was their administrative state, and the British had built it to their comfort. And take it from me, I studied history, and that's what I realized when I saw that country. It was great when it just got independence. And so we were doing well, the economy was doing well. We had the best education in the early 80s and everything else. And we had people who were coming to Zimbabwe to look for work, to be refugees and everything else. I was in a place of privilege, not because of the structures, but because I had everything I needed. I didn't need to go and work on the farm like the people from Malawi, work in the mines like the people from Malawi, be domestic servants like people from Mozambique, come to buy goods like people from Zambia. And when that was happening, we were making fun of them. We thought, why are they coming to work in the mines? Because these are the jobs we didn't want to do. And little did I know that 20 years from then, I was going to be one of those that also leave my country to come and do the jobs that Canadians didn't want to do. My first job here in Canada was packing candy in a factory. And I felt reduced to, because I had never imagined myself in that space. I was educated. I came from teaching high school, and the only job I could do at first in Montreal was pack candy in a factory, and I didn't understand the language. All I could hear was vit vit, fast move, fast move, fast move, fast vit vit, right? So this book by DiAngelo, it helped me to have empathy. So here it is, my white friends. I do have some empathy for you, because I actually was one of those that was privileged and did not recognize or see how I was not treating others well. So she said that prejudgment, like prejudice, is prejudgment of another person based on the social groups to which the person belongs. And says prejudice consists of thoughts and feelings, including stereotypes, attitudes, and generalizations that are based on little or no experience, and then they are projected onto everyone of that group. So generalizations, so that black people don't speak English well. That's why we get a lot of questions about, oh, did you learn your English here? And I'm like, excuse me, I didn't learn the bad English here. I learned it from where I come from, the good English. And then the Canadian, race foundations, it also, describes racism as, that racism and prejudice are sometimes used interchangeably. And then the primary difference between the two words is that racism relies on a level of institutional power in order to impose its dominance. So racism very much intertwined with colonialism and institutional powers like that. So if we think about residential schools in Canada, how the Aboriginal people, the indigenous population, was treated, and the kids taken to be assimilated in the schools, that is racism that is based on institutional power. If we think of apartheid in South Africa, which I think is same as what happened in Canada here. So apartheid really segregated people into you're white, you're black, you're colored, which means you're mixed. So all these things, and then by power, power is the authority granted through social structures and conventions, possibly supported by force or threat of force. That's why you hear people talk about how the police was founded in the US, where they were supposed to look after the slaves, so that make sure they don't run away, and take care of them and bring them back to their slave master if they attempted to run away, if they brought them alive, that is. So that's forcibly kind of it's enforced by in South Africa during apartheid. They would have to produce a pass to get into town, because they wanted to contain the black people in the places where they relegated them, like Soweto and other places. So racism and prejudice, we just wanted to talk about some of these terms so that you don't confuse them. Again, like I said, at this time when everybody is running out of the gate trying to put in place a diversity and inclusion policy or statement or whatever it is, as a check mark that we have done it. It's same as what companies used to do, to say we have a social responsibility policy. Now this is what companies are trying to do so that they remain credible. Be wary of those. You want to make sure that you're actually having the right conversations in order to do this right. It's not going to go away. It's here to stay. And I'm here to stay too.